welcome to the Karen Kenney Show. This is the place where we take a no bullshit look at life's little lessons. Here, together, we find the spiritual glory in even the most wicked hard story. This is a journey from fear back to love and how we can find our greatest strength and happiness in some of the most unlikely places. I believe that if you're willing to change your mind, you can totally change your life. So, are you ready to rewrite your story and choose to live free? Let's do this. Hey, you guys, welcome to the Karen Kenney Show. In this episode inversion, you hear me with a stuffed up nose. So if you're watching this at home, there will be starring, what do they call it? What is it when you get a side character there? Anyways, the side character in this feature film is tissues. So you'll be seeing me, if you're watching this on YouTube, dabbing at my nose because you guys do not want to hear me sniffling the whole time. So all right, here we are. I want to say it's episode 45 of the Karen Kenney Show. And the title of this sucker is going to be called, Are You a High Bar Jumper? Are you a high bar jumper? I'm going to explain what I mean when I say that. And I talked about this a long time ago. I don't know, a long time ago, a little while ago. Some of you may have caught it. I didn't talk about it on a podcast. I wrote a little something about it. But so I'm going to bring this idea, this concept to you, and I want to see if it resonates with some of you. I have a sneaky feeling it will, because I know a lot of successful people, and I know a lot of hardworking people. And so you might just see or hear or discover or relate to, you might see yourself in some of this or hear some of yourself in this. And if you do, double amen hands, ma'am. Send me a little note, send me a little message, a little DM, a little Instagram story or something. Say, KK, I hear you loud and clear. I recognize myself. So episode 45 of the Karen Kenney Show. Are you a high bar jumper? So let me just tell you a little story. You know, storytelling is like my favorite thing in the world. So I'm going to tell you a little story. So back in March of 2017, I flew out to California. I used to live in California, but this was like more northern. This was like in the Bay Area. So I flew out to California for an event called the Big Shift Experience. Here's what I knew. I knew that I wanted a big shift. I've been trying to, run my business for almost like close to like 20 years on my own. And I was ready for some help. When you hit that place where you realize like, shit, my best thinking has gotten me where I am. Now I'm just kind of bumping up against stuff. And what I was really bumping up against was my own self. Not so much, I have a great mindset. That was never the problem for me. It was kind of understanding more so like business strategy. My inner game is on point. Not that it can't, obviously. None of us are like finished products, right? I can always be kind of looking at places within myself where maybe I'm getting in my own way. I'm not saying that I'm perfect or got it all figured out, but I'm pretty comfortable that my inner game, my spiritual alignment's on point. But as far as like business strategy, like sometimes you just need some help. And I became really clear, like, oh yeah. So I heard about the Big Shift Experience and I was like, I want to go. And I went, and a friend of mine, Casey, came with me. I invited her to come with me. And the experience was like so fucking fantastic that it inspired me while I was there to get some serious skin in the game and to invest in a year-long intensive business coaching program. And my first year experience was so good, I actually signed up for a second year. So there I am out in California. I do this thing. And the head honcho and the main coach of my business program is a guy called Bill Barron. And if you haven't already listened to my interview with Bill Barron on a previous episode, go check that sucker out. It's really good. It's really good. And Bill is sometimes called the business oracle. And he's not only like a heart-centered and spirit-based entrepreneur, he's also like a total straight shooter, which is something I really appreciate. And even more so, he's not just a direct straight shooter. He's also a smarty pants. He's a wicked smarty pants, as I would say. So here's the thing. For me, nothing works better then learning from somebody who's not only like deeply intuitive and connected to spirit, but they're also not totally full of what I jokingly call crappity crap bullshit. So if I'm going to be learning from you, I have to feel like, so in order for me to trust you, in order for me to want to listen to you, in order for me to feel safe in your environment, there's like a certain criteria, right? And I have to feel like you went first, you did the work, AKA, you know what the fuck you're talking about because you have personal hands-on experience. Your integrity shows through, so I can do a little research on you and see like, yeah, it sounds like this person is living in alignment with their values and what they're saying. Do they have a success record, right? Do they have some results? And so when I did my research on Bill Barron, everything came thumbs up, and I was like, yes, all in. And I highly encourage you guys, if you're going to sign up for any kind of a program, do your homework. Find out who you're about to give your money to, your hard-earned money to. Don't just be wicked compulsive. Trust your intuition, but also do a little homework, do a little digging. You know what I'm saying? And so here it was. I discovered Bill, and I thought, okay, this is really cool. So if you've been following me at all, or if you're new to the thing, maybe you haven't heard me say this, but if you follow me at all, you've probably heard me say at one point or another, I've said something like, you know, when someone is saying smarty pants thing in smarty pants way, I'm smart enough to listen. And so my ego is not so out of proportion that I don't see myself as learnable, as I like to jokingly say. I am learnable and teachable, because I understand the older I get, the more I realize how much I don't know. There's certain things I seem to know a lot about. There's a lot of stuff I don't know a lot about. And so business is one of those places where, look, I'm not going to downplay myself. I've been able to make a living doing what I love for like 20 years. So that's incredible. But in terms of wanting to grow and to learn more and to be able to, you know, help more people and yada, 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 all that stuff, I knew that I needed help. Okay. So when I was in this program, the Big Shift coaching, with Bill Barron and other great coaches, we used to have these calls. Okay. So they were like weekly group coaching calls or whatever. And one of these days on a call, Bill Barron said something to us that literally made my mind, right? Like stop, drop, and roll. When we were kids, there was that great commercial. I don't know if you remember it. I might be too old for some of my listeners to remember this, but there was a great commercial about what do you do if there's a fire, and you stop, drop, and roll. And so like sometimes once in a while I'll be talking to somebody and they just say something and it makes my mind just go like, whoa, like this is really good. Like pay attention. And so what happened is he was coaching someone in our group program, that was being wicked hard on themselves. Anybody resonate with that? Right? I'm looking at you guys. I'm doing the little right? He's talking to somebody was being wicked hard on themselves. Okay. I am no stranger to that. I can be so hard on myself. And so in 2020, we're going to be a little more gentleness, a little more merciful, and a little more compassionate towards myself. Compassion is one of my core values. And I seem to be able to be pretty compassionate towards other people, definitely towards animals and other beings. I can sometimes not be as compassionate towards myself. So that's a muscle I'm growing. So just doing a little share. Okay. So he's on the call, he's talking to this person, they're being wicked hard on themselves. And like, this is a person who you guys had already had some like amazing success. So far in the program that we were in. And they had reached to me, they had reached some really impressive goals. And yet they were somehow still lamenting that they hadn't hit that quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes for those of you who are just listening, that quote unquote magical goal or number or whatever that was that they had in their own head. And so like I, as somebody who was like listening and looking from the outside, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, what are you talking about? Like she just couldn't see how much she'd already accomplished. And I was like, oh my God, can you just look back over the past 6 months and see how much you've accomplished? But like so many of us, this mentee, this person, my fellow person in the program who I was cheering on, like they had a total blind spot to their own brilliance. They just could not see their own awesomeness, and they could not see just how far they had come, and like everything that they had done. From the outside in, it was like, this is crazy. How can they not see this? And so I said, so like all really good mentors and really good writers, like Bill was able to spot like a personal story that was happening that had like universal appeal, right? That's what you really want to do as a writer too, is you take a personal story and you somehow find the universal in it, because that's the human condition. Is we can almost always say, I always say, suffering is suffering and suffering. Like, it doesn't matter the details of the story. Not that the details of the story make it interesting, but like, you know, we tend to all get stuck in the same way. It might act out a little differently, but the heartbeat of the thing is the same thing. So he was able to spot a personal story that was universally applicable and beneficial. And so on the call, I remember him, like, he just paused and he said, okay, even though he was talking to this one individual, he said, okay, this is for everyone. Like, so this is for everyone on the call. So listen up, is what he said. And then what he said next, it literally, I mean, I usually almost always have a pen or something around me, but I just remember, like, I scrambled to get a writing utensil. I was like, oh my God. So as a writer, you know, I always have a pen or a pencil or a notebook close by. And so without hesitation, I snatched up my, I'll show it to you. These are my favorite pens. So this is a Pilot Precise V7 RT pen with blue ink. It's my favorite pen to write with. And then my favorite pencils are Palomino Black Wings. Those are my go-to pencils. Okay, so I don't know why I felt the need to share that with you, but in case you're listening, this is my favorite pen. Oh, I'm getting a little delusional. I think all the snot that's stuffed up in my brain is affecting me. Okay, so I grabbed my pen and I jotted down the golden nugget of wisdom that BB had just like laid out on us. And so I'm probably not going to nail it verbatim here, because the exact words in this particular case aren't really necessary. It's like the essence. It's the essence of what he was saying that most struck me. And I want to share it with you because I found it really, really, really helpful. Okay. So listen up, listen to this. He said, that just sounded bossy. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you, like, pay attention, because this is the good part. Okay. So he was talking about how we all have these bars in life. That's BARS, bars, right? We all have these bars in our life. Like, he was talking about how we have these goals or these hopes or these dreams or whatever that we want to accomplish. And that some of us, especially ambitious overachievers, we have a tendency to set our bars wicked high. Okay. Which in and of itself, let me just footnote, which in and of itself is not a bad thing at all. I think it's fantastic to have a vision and to have a goal that we're going after. Okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But, capital B-U-T, but what we often tend to do is this. Even when we hit one of those bars, and sometimes we don't just hit it. I mean, sometimes we jump up and we go sailing right up and over it. Even though we've accomplished the thing or over-accomplished the thing, we still are never friggin' satisfied. So I'm just going to let that land for a second. We set these bars wicked high. We set these goals, these dreams, these visions, these accomplishments, these things we want to hit. We set them wicked high. And then even though we hit them or surpass them, we're still never friggin' satisfied. Okay. And we don't take like that present moment pause, the sacred pause. We don't like take that moment to just kind of like stop for a second and to receive the gift of what that moment really was. We don't take the sacred pause, the in-breath, right? We don't take the full inhale, pause, exhale, that moment to really receive the gift of what just happened. And we just sort of brush it off in this kind of like, yeah, no big deal kind of way. I'm guilty of that too. And I don't even like to say I'm guilty of that. I've participated in that behavior. I don't like to say I'm guilty. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I got to stop. We got to stop guilting each other. I'm going to do a whole podcast off of getting off the guilt train. We're going to talk about that at some point. But we kind of do this deflection thing. Like, we hit this wicked big goal and we do this deflection thing. And we deflect the magic of what just transpired. And I was just talking to my friend Cass about this. And it's so funny because she didn't know that I was doing this podcast today on this particular subject. And this is how I know, like, spiritual team is on the job, because I made a decision this morning to like record on this subject. And then she basically says, you know, I kind of have this habit where I don't allow myself to just stop for a minute and recognize, like, you know, everything I've accomplished. And I was like, yes, like, spiritual team on the job. So this is a subject that I knew was right in a line that might be helpful not only to me or to my friend, but to others, to some of you guys, hopefully, fingers crossed, right? Okay, so we kind of do this thing where we deflect the magic of what's just transpired. And so it occurred to me, like, the more I thought about it, I thought, well, not only do we not like recognize or give ourselves credit for, okay, or celebrate like the huge ass thing that we just accomplished, we're so restless in our like forward future thinking, in what, like, it's kind of like this ever exhaustible, we're always exhaustively like in hot pursuit of what's next, or we're in hot pursuit of, like, you know, especially with the internet and social media, having people believe that what really matters is like their fortune, their fame, and listen to this one, their specialness. We're so restless in our fortune future thinking, and the ever exhaustible hot pursuit of fortune, fame, and specialness, or the desperate need for external attention or external validation or edification or external like likes and follows and proof of our worthiness, and please tell me that I'm good, and please tell me that I'm smart, or please tell me that I'm pretty or beautiful, or that I'm worthy of love. We're so in hot pursuit of that we end up missing the whole fucking point. You know what I'm saying? And so we're so busy like Pac-Man gobbling up, like I'm doing little hand motions for those of you who are listening, like da 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 da, like waka 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 waka. Okay, I'm not doing a very good job. You guys know what you're picking up what I'm putting down, right? We're so busy like Pac-Man gobbling up the next thing on our plate or our to-do list or our quote unquote should list, that the opportunity to appreciate ourselves, to like appreciate our hard work and our discipline and our glory and our co-creation with the divine, it barely gets acknowledged. Like, that makes me a little sad. Like, it barely gets acknowledged. We're so in hot pursuit of the next big thing that we let a moment of important spiritual growth slip right through our fingers. You know, we don't stop doing, quote unquote. We don't stop doing long enough to actually pause and fully receive in like an open-armed kind of way the miracle that was just gifted to us. A mind that moves too quickly, it misses the subtle nuances and sometimes the not so subtle things. It misses the really big moments too. The thing that, like, the miracle that was just gifted to us. And like, not only that, we're so busy hustling so often to prove our value, especially entrepreneurs, you know, so busy hustling to prove our value and worth that we just turn around, and that bar that was just set really high, we just set it higher, and then we set it higher, and then we set it higher. And it's like you're chasing some elusive thing on some private, personal, like internal checklist that ultimately we may not ever reach. And nor, not only that, we may not ever reach it, nor will it ever truly lead to our peace or our salvation. Because here's the ridiculous truth, you guys. We never let ourselves just enjoy being, God forbid, below or at level with the friggin' bar once in a while. We never let ourselves just enjoy being below or at level the fucking bar. Just once in a while. You know, we don't do it. We keep believing that old, boring cultural lie that happiness lies at the end of the journey. Once you've caught or lost or bought or sold the thing, right? It's like we're always chasing this kind of thing. And we never, I shouldn't say never, but really, let's just use it in like, you know, like we never cut ourselves any slack. It always has to be the high thing, or it's not good enough. You know, we don't cut ourselves any slack. And if we do, it's only a matter of time before that little maniacal bastard of a guilty ego whispers, hey, since you've got all this lazy ass slack, maybe you should try to hang yourself with it. You're never going to be good enough. Right? In A Course in Miracles, we say the ego is suspicious at best and vicious at worst. So it's like, oh, you're going to cut yourself all this slack? Yeah, why don't you just hang yourself with it? So let me be perfectly clear about something, because some of you might be kind of going like, but KK, are you saying we shouldn't set a high standard for ourselves? Are you saying we shouldn't be in pursuit of excellence? Or pursuit of whatever. I'm not suggesting that you lower your standards. I'm not saying like lower the high bars on your hopes and dreams. I'm not saying that. I encourage you to go ahead and set those suckers way up there. Go for it. Shoot, I would even give you a boost to do it, you know? But please, for the love of God and all things holy, when we do meet one of them, when after all of your blood and sweat and tears, and in some cases, years, when you finally stick the landing or make the deal or get the gig, you birth the baby, you write the book, you start the business, or you hit some particular income level or goal or whatever, can we holy moly already just do the following things? 8 little points I want you to think about. So if you got a pen nearby, if you got a pen and a piece of paper, a journal or something nearby, right? Or if not, just pause this until you can get one. Pause the big sound of my voice in your ears. Go get a pen and a piece of paper, okay? When we do one of these things, when we finally meet the goals, here are some things that I encourage you to do. Number 1, pause. You hit the goal, you make the sale, you get the gig, you sell the program, you sell out your retreat, I don't care, whatever the thing was. You lose the weight, you blah, 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 fill in the blank, right? Number 1, pause. Slow the fuck down. And then breathe. Like literally, like breathe in the moment. Give yourself a chance to fully receive it. And then give yourself a chance as you're receiving it to kind of reflect like, hey, when I was little, this was just a dream. Or, hey, 8 months ago, I didn't know if this was possible. Or, hey, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, reflect on what just happened, the co-creation. Just give yourself a moment. And then, like, really celebrate it. I don't care if you do a little jig around your room. I don't care if you yell something out. I don't care if you do a power move or you high five somebody or you, I don't know, text somebody, Mom, I did it. Whatever the thing, sweetie, oh my God, can you believe? Like, take a moment to truly celebrate it. And then this next step is wicked important. Appreciate it. Appreciate the whole experience. You having had the dream and the vision. And then all the steps it took to accomplish the sucker. Like, really appreciate it. Have gratitude for every person or every system or tool or whatever that helped you to accomplish it. Like, really appreciate it. And then kind of let yourself acclimate. And I'm going to do a whole other episode on this maybe next week. Okay? Acclimate to where you're at, the new elevation, the new standard, the new thing. And then take time to integrate it. And that's what like next week's podcast is going to be about, this acclimation and integration period. Okay. So number 1, pause. Number 2, breathe. Number 3, receive it. Like really let yourself take it in, reflect on what just happened, celebrate it, have some fun, have some joy in the process, and then pause and appreciate it. Say your thank yous. Send a little note card, right? Gift yourself a little something. Give you, as my Nana used to say, go get yourself a little trinket, little snack, something that makes you happy. Then let yourself acclimate and then integrate it deeply. Can we please do all this before we automatically then go and set the bar higher? Because so often, like, just let yourself win once in a while. You know what I'm saying? Like, before we just immediately rush on and go like, oh yeah, did it, hit it, got the number, got the sale, hit the goal, blah, 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 boom. And then we set it even higher. We don't even take a moment to appreciate what just happened. So please just let yourself win once in a while. Be kind. Be kind. Be your own hero, even if it's just for one day, if it's just for that one moment where you recognize it, right? So if you're somebody who's not listening in a moving vehicle, like it's safe for you to do this, do me a favor, take out a piece of paper. Because here we are, right? We're going into, I think when you guys hear this, it'll be like the second week of January 2020, okay? And I want you to recognize something, all right? All you high bar jumpers, all right? I want you to do me a favor. Take out a piece of paper, take out your favorite pen, and I'd love to know what it is. Take out your favorite pen or pencil. And then I want you to do this. I want you to write down a list of all the amazing stuff that you've accomplished over this past year. Write down all the places where you succeeded or gained some ground or went after it. And I bet you're going to be surprised by what you see. All right. So before we just going around raising the bars wicked high, let's pause and let's kind of reflect on and appreciate where we've been, how far we've come. Really give yourself a moment of true appreciation. And this is really important, especially for kids who maybe weren't like, and even though you're all adults, usually my audience is adults listening, but there's a part of you, there's a little kid inside of you that maybe did not get the love, recognition, pat on the back, that a girl, at a boy, support that they needed. I think it's really important that we become the adults that we needed when we were little kids. And we take that moment and that reflection to say, hey, good job, kid. You did a really good job. And to really like cheerlead ourselves and to give ourselves like, you know, one of the things I was talking about with my friend earlier is that, you know, we need to become the thing that, you know, the person that we wanted to be able to look up to. You know, the example who went first that we could look at as a, you know, a guide or a mentor to how to do it. And so this is one of the ways we start to heal that little kid inside maybe who wasn't given the recognition or the support or the guidance or the, hey, awesome job, I'm proud of you. This is one of those moments where you get to stop and pause and pat yourself on the back and recognize your hard work and recognize your tenacity or your resiliency. You know, and there are some people who don't believe in like that whole patting on the back. It's like, yeah, let's just go get better. And I appreciate the sentiment of let's get better. But I think let's get better feels way better when there's a moment to recognize where we came from and then recognize where we're going and understand that those different steps along the way matter. And if we just try to like push it behind us because we're sucky at receiving love, like that's part of it too, right? The pursuit becomes on these things and it's not about like recognizing like, wow, I overcame something here. I overcame a fear. Like, amen. Like I'm proud of myself. Like that's good. And it's not about being arrogant. You know, the confidence within is built by recognizing that, you know, there's a whole other thing about this, like that your spiritual team, when you recognize who walks beside you on this way that you have chosen, and you realize it's like, oh my God, like I'm going after these things and I'm doing these things. And I have an understanding of who walks with me. And getting better is great. I'm all for getting better, but I'm also for acknowledging where you've been, where you came from, and what you just did. So I think it's really important. So you guys, I would love to hear about some of your, first of all, I do actually want to hear what your favorite pens and pencils might be because I'm a nerd. I am a book nerd and I am a like pens and pencils and paper nerd. But really what I want to hear about also is if you're so inclined, you can respond to me at Karen@KarenKenney.com. Kenney. There's a contact form there. You can send me an email, obviously, Karen@KarenKenney.com. But you can also just go to my website and on the contact form, you can send me one of those suckers. You can also write to me, DM me on Facebook or tag me in a story or tag me on Instagram or whatever. I'd love to know. Drop me a note. Let me know one or two of the things you're most proud of or happy about from 2019. I'd love to hear your wins. I would love to just be able to hold a moment for you to bear witness to it, because some of us may not have people in our lives that is actually cheerleading us. Sometimes we find ourselves like as a sheep in a den of wolves, and wolves are like one of my favorite animals, but you know what I mean in this metaphor, you know what I'm talking about. You're in a circle of people who actually maybe secretly aren't so happy for you, aren't so excited for you, who are jealous of your success or who don't know how don't know how to cheerlead. I'm a professional cheerleader. I'm really good at that. That's one thing I can say. I don't say I'm wicked good at a lot of things, but I know I'm really good at cheerleading people and their accomplishments. It makes me really happy to do so. So I'd love to hear about some of your wins, you guys. So send up a flare. send Auntie KK a little report about what went down in 2019. And look, I'm all for setting the bar high, but not until we first recognize what just happened and let ourselves be the hero just for a day or for a moment. Like, let yourself receive the win. It's so important, I think, not to make yourself special. It's not like, oh, now I'm worthy of love. It's not that. You've always been lovable. You've always been worthy. That came in with you. You don't have to do shit to become worthy and to become lovable. But there's something really fun about setting a goal for yourself. And you know why? You know what's great about it is because you start to take yourself seriously. You start to understand who you are, what you're made of, what you can accomplish. And I think it's really important that, again, you don't have to take out an ad. You don't have to do a whole post pointing out, look how special I am. I just think personally, it's important to acknowledge your hard work. And I think it's also really nice to be able to share it with a safe place or a friend. I'm not saying it needs to be on social media, but it is nice to just have reflected back to you like, hey, good job. I see you. I saw what you did. I'm proud of you, before you go setting the bar even higher, right? And I'll just say this. So like I set a goal for myself last year, and I probably surpassed it, but the way that I'm keeping track, I'm like, ooh, I just came in a little short. And in the past, like my OCD would have like kicked in and I would have been like, oh, just do this. You only need a few more, or like fill in the blank, whatever it was, points or money or whatever. But a part of me was just like, you know what? I'm totally, for like one of the first times in my life, like I'm totally okay going, man, I met it or I got wicked close to it. And that's okay, because it doesn't change how I feel about myself. It's all just a game. At some point you start to realize like all this stuff, we're just in this big classroom. You can think of it as like being on a big playing field and we're all just playing this big old game. And why not make it fun once in a while? You know what I mean? Like, take it seriously if you want to, but why not make it fun? So all of you high bar jumpers out there, I see you. I feel you. I celebrate you and I appreciate you. So send up a flare, let me know. And you guys just be on the lookout. I'm going to be, I'm like 98% sure that I'm going to be announcing something really fun. So right now, the other good news is we're finally in January. So the doors are now open to my one-to-one mentoring programs. I would be remiss not to mention that. I might be down to just 6 spots now, 6 spots being open, which is really cool. So if you want to apply to one of those programs, just go to my website, KarenKenney.com/work with me, and you'll see. But I also towards maybe next week or so, I might be announcing another cool project that I'm collaborating on. Never done it before, this collaboration, and I haven't seen anything like it. So I'm wicked excited. So I can't wait to share it with you. Thank you so much for listening, you guys. I hope your New Year's is off to an awesome start. I hope you're already having some fun and feeling the love and planning out some things that make you happy. Like, that's so much. Like, I want you to have a lot of spaciousness. I always say I'm not a big fan of the new year, new you. I am a fan of the true you, of you just kind of letting all that is false, all that is not you, just start to surrender it and let it fall away, so that who you really are is what I would call a child of God, one of God's kids. But that light, the light of the world that you are, that you let it start to shine through. So I'm looking forward to taking this journey with you in 2020. I love you. And wherever you go, may you be a blessing. Bye. Hey, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Karen Kenney Show. I super duper appreciate your time, friendship, and support. And look, if something that I shared from my heart today somehow landed in yours, I'd love to hear about it. So please tag me on Facebook or Instagram or IG stories or wherever the cool kids are hanging out these days, and let me know what your favorite part was or what you found most helpful. You can find me over at Karen Kenney Live.
That's Karen, KenneYlive. And if you're digging what I'm saying and you want to hear more, I'd be wicked grateful if you could go to iTunes and subscribe and leave a review, because you guys, that's how you'll help me to keep spreading the love. And if you can think of someone that could benefit from hearing this episode, please share it with them. I'd also love to stay connected with you. So if the feeling is mutual, please go to KarenKenney.com/freebie and download my free guide to building your spiritual team. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, keep living in the fearless flow. Know that I see you, I appreciate you, and I love you. And wherever you go, may you be a blessing.